Welcome to the Fortress Fitness Lifestyle Magazine podcast series, where we cater to you mind, body, and soul. Join our host, Mr. Victor Francis, and his guests as they discuss nutrition, health, exercise, diabetes, and much more. Right here every Saturday at 7 p.m. Now, here's our host, Mr. Victor Francis.
Yes. Me again. All right, good night. All right, so welcome to another episode of Fortress Fitness Lifestyle Podcast. And tonight, I have a special guest again. This is Miss Amber Alexis, a cultural nutritionist. And she is actually my nutritionist, my go-to nutritionist, because I believe she's one of the best in the country. So I work with her and have her on my magazine. So Miss Amber Alexis,
Yes, sir.
the last time I was here, it was like, yeah, we chat, whatever. But a lot has happened. So you see, I'm smiling from ear to ear, right? And we have a lot of things in common. And next month is a month that is next month. I think October is that month. Yes.
That month.
I would have put out something this morning when I was preparing something to eat, and I put up a reel based on that, and encouraging people to change their diet and do certain things because of that month and what it I saw also a former Miss Trinidad and Tobago came out and came out and spoke about she been diagnosed, right? And so it's a fight, and that's why what you do is so important. We had to educate. We had to educate because it's basically that is really lifestyle. That is commonly based on lifestyle. Most of it, I believe.
Some of it, but
Some of it.
well, evening to everyone. Thanks for having me on again.
Yes. So,
if you're not sure, because we're talking in code right now, Victor.
Yes.
October is about cancer awareness, and it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. And the role that nutrition plays in some instances, you find that there are a lot of things that you can do to reduce your risk of it. But because it's so many things contributing to the cause of it, especially genetic, it has a very strong genetic factor associated with some cancers developing and the risk of it being higher in some people than others. And so you find that even if you can't prevent it altogether, like nutrition plays such a big role in the management. So if you start some treatments, how well you tolerate it and how well you can recover and things like that would be increased with your nutrition and lifestyle management. So whether it's in trying to prevent it or the management of it, you find that you can't go wrong with making some adjustments to your overall nutrition.
Well, Amber, I think when we start this podcast, I didn't let you to introduce yourself because I started to talk, right? So for the people who don't know you, I think you should just reintroduce yourself because you talk about certain things to me. Say, but who does someone talk about nutrition and that? So I think you should properly introduce yourself.
Sure, no problem. I am Mrs. Amber Alexis. I was Amber Charles, so some people know me as Amber Charles Alexis. I'm a public health nutritionist, registered dietitian, trained in the US, moved back home in 2021, and I am the founder of the Cultural Diertician. And what that really means is I'm a dietitian focused on helping Caribbean people eat healthier using Caribbean foods. Because we've seen all of the messaging where eat healthy, and it's a long list of foods that we don't really have here, or if we have access to it, it's challenging at times, especially it's more expensive. So I really try to hold the message of health and wellness in with a Caribbean focus. So I'm the cultural dietitian by trade. Other than that, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of two, I'm a former athlete, still trying to maintain some, athleticism in my day-to-day, but there are quite a few things we can talk about me and my background, but just from a professional standpoint, those are my credentials. So I hold a master's in public health, and I've been a dietitian. I was a pandemic dietitian. So 2020 to now, we're talking about 4 years, registered, board certified, and running my business going on over 3 years now.
Right. So Amber, I saw on social media, or we start with this. I saw on social media you was talking about something, but I think someone put up. Well, we know we're not bashing anybody, right? Somebody would have put up something about a diet plan or something like that, but it's more
Yeah.
foreign. Yeah, so I just will listen to you, and I think it was
Yeah.
interesting. So I want you to just like
Yeah.
hit on that a little bit, if you don't mind, because it
Sure.
makes sense based on what you were saying. You know?
Yeah. So what happened for those who were not, and listen, that so I posted across my social media, but it really took off on TikTok. I was like, wow, it sparked so much engagement and conversation because I think it's something that people could really relate to, right? So there was a situation with someone who was trying to get better control of her blood sugar levels. I would have reached out to another professional. Some people try to guess if it was another dietitian. I got comments if it was a personal trainer, neither of those. But I will
Yeah,
not reveal
yeah.
the person because the point
No.
is learning from situation and not trying to highlight any particular individual, right? And um, so she would have been given a plan, and on the plan would have certain foods. The one that I chose to highlight at the time was asparagus, right? Because it was it's an E, so that's the top of the list. And she couldn't find some of the foods that would have been on there that she'd need as ingredients for her recipes and things like that. So she reached back out to the individual and they would have said, well, if you can't get the foods, my plan, which would include some supplements and stuff, won't work. And it was very discouraging for her because of course, you're trying to do your best. And then you have somebody telling you, well, although you just put this amount of money into working with the person, getting the plan, getting the additional things to go along with the plan, but you couldn't get the particular foods, they're telling you, well, it wouldn't work for you. So it's like you're doomed, right? No chance of success because you can't get this particular, which we know are not common here. So I'm like, listen, we need to get better at this. We need to do better as healthcare providers, as providers, um, and not discourage people because they can't get a particular food that we know is not a Caribbean food anyway. Offer them something else. So my comment was, if you can't adapt your plan to Caribbean foods and you don't know what you're doing, you probably should not be serving Caribbean people, right? Because we
Yes.
have so many options here, but we get caught up in the foreign version of
Yes.
things, So that's what really sparked a lot of conversation, with just highlighting that situation and pushing, for the customers, for the clients, like, hey, these are some questions that you need to be asking the people that you're working with. What are my local alternatives? What are this? Like, ask your questions and then decide if this is a good fit for you to move forward before you jump with a lot of money as well.
I think also, you know, people need to find out from whether it's a trainer, because we're not bashing, but I myself, you
Mm-hmm.
know, is a trainer. I mean, I'll do more training again, but I used to be a trainer for a lot of people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not all trainers, that would know much about nutrition. And I think
Yeah.
it's okay to say I don't know. A
Yeah.
trainer is a trainer. And some
Yeah.
trainers I know, they still try and they will say, well, eat this, eat that, and they're really not certified,
Yeah.
qualified to do that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that when I was talking on that particular reel, I was saying that, why would someone give someone put them on a plan, and some of the items on that plan is not, you can't get it in Trinidad, right?
Yeah. It's difficult
Um,
to get into now.
yeah, difficult. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was taken back because someone who really want help in that way, I mean, it should be able to, whatever is on whoever get them a plan to follow, to buy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to assist them, it should be ready available. It shouldn't be that difficult, because that could get you
Mm-hmm.
disappointment. Just how type
Mm-hmm.
people is go to the gym for the first time and they get a little discouraged based on so many people that they see is
Yeah.
get intimidated. It's no different to that, somebody give you a list of, get A, B, and C and D, and they're going all
Mm-hmm.
over the trend and they can't find it. It
You
can
can't
really,
find it.
that
Or you could
discourage.
find it today, you can't find it next week, kind of thing.
Yes, it doesn't make
Very
sense.
inconsistent. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I was kind of tuning into what he was saying, because it make all the sense to
Mm-hmm.
me. So I think people need, and I was telling someone today, it was, what we need is proper guidance. The people who
Yeah.
need help with guidance and the proper information from the right people. There's too
Yeah.
much. There's too much of everybody want to be something that is not, and is
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
qualified to be. And I saying it. I being honest, I saying it,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell people, I respect people profession. you know
Mm-hmm.
People must respect other people profession. if you if
Profession.
you
Yeah.
if you don't know something, say, what, I'll ask someone, or take this number, call this person. Now that's what I do. People say, Vic,
Yeah.
plenty people tell me, Vic, I need an app. I say, you're going on, and I'll send them to you in particular, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not my profession, that's not my strength, right? What I do for me, whether I eat or whatever, that works for me, but I am not
But it may
certified.
not work for you.
It may not, yes,
Yeah.
it may work for
But
somebody.
you know
So,
what, Vic?
mhm,
Sorry to cut in, but I've spoken to other trainers as well over the time, and I think what happens, because I like to add nuance to things, right? That's the ideal in terms of, well, this is not your forte, pass somebody on. But then a lot of the times too, I realize that some of the trainers struggle just to try and meet their clients where they're at. So okay,
mm,
you're unable to go and work with somebody else. I wonder if there's some basic information I can give you to help you. Now, that is okay when it comes to, well, you don't have a medical condition, you're probably just looking for, body composition changes, types of things. But it becomes
mm.
complicated when you're working with clients who do have medical conditions and
Yes,
need more of a, focused, personalized approach to what it is they're doing. But there are times where it has to also be on the client to value. I need to be seeing these different people to support me along the way. A lot of people try to bootstrap it and do it themselves. And for some people, it can work to an extent. For other people, it does not. So, yes, as trainers, other people who different in different capacities where you find that there's some kind of crossover at times. Because I could say for me, I'm a dietitian. Some of my sessions with clients, I feel like therapy, right? They will tell me they feel like they just came to a therapy session. And you know that sometimes you end up working with clients on things that are not your specialty, but you just try to meet them because they may not have the access at the time. But you just want to make sure that you're doing it in a safe way and that you are at the
yeah,
bottom at the end of the day saying, hey, these are some people I'm going to refer to you. You can reach out. You can take this thing further because this is not my specialty. But there's some nuance in terms of just trying to really support the client as best as possible. But it does fall back on the client to be like, okay, I need to take the next step forward to see the various, referral providers.
yeah. Because why I say that, I mean, I know, you know, trainers, most trainers or some would always try to help, and
Mm-hmm.
people are very particular, especially women. When they're really passionate about they losing the weight. So I
Yeah.
know for a fact that, it's easy to tell someone, well, if you have some size, well, we cut down your carbs, whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be. But that is
Mm-hmm.
again, I or any trainer will just be talking out of what they think is the right thing. And I say
Yeah. Yeah.
we might be far off, but then if someone sit down and have a conversation with you, even me, I might say, "Girl, Amber, I want to put on some mass, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to maintain my cuts. So what do you think is the best approach?" No, and that'll be a legit question. I might say, "You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Let me eat this high protein, whatever." But you might say, "You know what, Vic? You should eat this, eat that, at whatever." And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it work better. It might what I do it might work, but yours might be work faster and cleaner,
Faster.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
cleaner. So the thing about it is, I have learned to, yes, we all do. We like to cross platform, and not just with
Mm-hmm.
trainers and clients, but I'm saying it's general. It's like me trying to do some plumbing, and I might do you know what I mean, basic, but then
Yeah, but calling the
yeah,
professional, they'll
yeah,
handle it up.
sometimes
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes. So what you said just so they actually make sense, whereby say somebody, well, cut down. Trainers will say, well, cut down in sugar, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Yeah.
somebody say, what, I really want to lose X amount of pound, especially females, because females again is very sensitive, So I would say, oh, which I've said, listen, I could train you if I really want to train somebody. I say, listen, I'll train you, but based on what I'm seeing and what you're saying, I think you should talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right way, the
Yeah,
right way to
it
talk with
is.
somebody. People just go to the
It
gym
is.
and get a trainer, and look, I was in the gym one day. It was because I changed gym, and somebody tell me, they say, that they in the gym long, they see the results, I want to leave and whatever. And actually, a female, and all that person probably is not getting is the proper um advice, or she
Mm-hmm.
hold her hand. She don't have a personal trainer because not everybody can afford that. But even though
Yeah.
to the gym, I think I strongly recommend, because it's lack of education. I'm strongly recommend, and even men, that men in gym long and they're not getting the result that they want
And not
because
getting results. Yeah.
they're not educated on how to move from point A to point B. And as I said
Yeah.
earlier, to speak to somebody, a lot of people like the idea of just being in the gym, even though they're not getting a result. They just like the idea of, as a gymmer, I just go to the gym, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
when they check how
Mm-hmm.
long they're there, right, and the results that they really want, and they're really talking to
Mm-hmm.
them, because it's come to me, how can you achieve this, here,
Yeah.
whatever. And most of it I know, most of it is diet. I telling you,
It's
all
that,
right.
yeah.
Most of
Because
it
you
is
could
that.
get also wanting to, like, with the exception of building muscle and cutting or whatever, you could actually, when it comes to weight loss, lose weight without going to the gym because of how you eat. You go to the gym, you tone up, you manage your muscle, like your body composition is going to change quite a lot with gym. But if you say I can't appreciate the gym, you could literally still adjust how you eat and start to kickstart the weight loss that you want to see. So things serve a different purpose. And I think that's where I always say people get really caught up. I wanna lose weight. I wanna exercise. And if you don't do it the right way, you will exercise, open up your appetite, not know how to manage that change in appetite,
Correct.
and then it backfires on you. So sometimes it really starts with nutrition. Exercise is important. I will never put that aside. I've been doing it my entire life at a professional level as well. But you have to know where things fall, and that it starts with the nutrition, right?
It,
I had a client who she needed to do the surgery for knee replacement surgery, but she was above the BMI range. You have to be within a certain BMI range to safely do the surgery. No exercise got her weight down for her to get into the BMI range to be able to do the surgery so that she can eventually start training. You understand? Um, but that's what I think tends to backfire. Everyone's like, I need to be healthy, I need to eat healthy, I need to do this, I need to do that. Cool. But the first thing is I need to exercise, I need to exercise more. And you're going from 0 to 100. Not understanding there come certain things when you're exercising, especially appetite changes,
yes.
and you need to know how to manage that as well. So you need to start with nutrition first, But I'm thinking if um I think what happens is people have a decision. Okay, if I have to spend more money, where's it going to go? You know what? I feel like I might get a faster result with let me put more money into the gym versus put money into something where somebody tell me now to go and buy this and do that, and it feels like it takes longer. But I always say the slower approach is the more sustainable approach. Huh?
Yes.
So that's something too. We have a nice culture, I think, around exercising. Like it's something that you see a lot of people will try to go walking, things like that. Could be a little better. But it tends not to go hand in hand with the nutrition.
I think in our culture, Amber, is that I think, and you hit the nail on the head just now there. When people say, you know what, I want to lose some weight or I want to get fitter, they don't think about nutrition first. They just think
No.
about either go to the gym or let's go and start a walk. And that's actually
Hmm.
the reverse.
Yeah.
That's actually reverse. And that's lack of information because again, better the gym, they pumping there and again strong, but they're not getting
Hmm.
results.
The
And
results. Yeah.
the results that they want, what they see on social media, these guys are way whatever, is diet. I'm an advocate for that. I've been in the gym for long and
Hmm.
my body would have changed, right?
Hmm.
In a short piece of time, not based on gymming, long, it's based on I had changed my diet. Right? I didn't
Hmm.
understand. I could vouch for it. I didn't understand how important in the early days how nutrition play in getting
Hmm.
the body that you want. The gym can't
Hmm.
get the body that you want. The gym is
Yeah.
part of the process, but the diet meaning, anytime I use that word, it's not people is not starving.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
not serving.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause I don't believe in that neither. I believe in eating
Yeah.
in a particular way. But let's change the topic a little bit, right? So since you have been doing what you're doing, what seemed to be with our culture, because I know it's a culture nutritionist, what seemed to be the like people I know you just do lecture and things like that, and people talking to you, people calling you. What in your humble, opinion, what seemed to be the
Hmm.
most one of the biggest or two or three of the biggest setback people where that is concerned, where people not getting the results that they need in the sense of, or what do you think is the stigma on diet in Trinidad? Or changing the way that you eat or to lose the weight now.
Right. So I think what they tend to struggle with a lot is changing things too quickly. So one, there's the chronic undereating. So as I say, now diet became a bad word when really diet
Yes.
is it's just describing how you eat, how the curb and diet is. But people tend to say diet, oh, it has to be the short term, quick
Yeah.
fix kind of thing. So even sometimes I'm hesitant to say diet. I'm like, oh, nutrition, because I think it's better received as like, oh, my nutrition, but diet. it tends to be heart rate.
Yes.
So the chronic dieting, and we have a very strong dieting culture in the Caribbean where it's like, drink this for 5 days, lose 20 pounds kind of thing. Um, and there are a lot of people who would try different things. And because they're not seeing quick results in a short time, they're trying so many things in such a short space of time that
Correct.
it's starting to backfire on them as well because there are a number of things that can work, but you have to stick with any change that you make long enough to really see the full impact of it. And a lot of times people struggle with those very restrictive diets. So I think that the dieting culture and the amount of options that are available to people is a big thing that really sets them back. Again, coming to the sustainability of some of the changes and like for example, keto. I had a lot of people say, oh, I did keto and I got a lot of results, but then I couldn't sustain it because it's an expensive way to eat. From a nutrition perspective, it's very unnecessary unless you have a medical condition, aka seizures, and it could lead to a lot of nutrient deficiencies. So then people see their health changing and they don't know why, and it's because a lot of the fat dieting as well, right? So I don't know if I'm answering your question completely. You could repeat it as well. 'Cause my son walked in there. Um, but those are two main things that I see that they tend to get challenged with. Another thing is people will go and Google and then say, there's so much information out there, I don't know what to follow. I don't know what's for me, right? For women, PCOS is a major, or PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, is a major thing that a lot of women experience. And there's such conflicting information around what to do. So, people would, and rightfully so, do the research, but then they find so much information, like, I don't know what to do. So a lot of people tend to become despondent from researching things, and then not being able to really tailor it to themselves, not knowing how to tailor it to themselves. And they somewhat end up falling back again on that first point of the types of diets that are out there, how restrictive it is, and just getting into this kind of loop of, I want to do better for myself, but I don't know what to do, and I'm trying something, but it feels like it's not working. I have to try something else, and it's really just this kind of vicious cycle of trying, not seeing the result any time that they set as well, which sometimes is not realistic, and then going straight back into different versions of the restrictive diets.
Do you think, Amber, that most people do the 8 to 4, 8 to 5? Do you think the workplace have a big impact on
Yes,
having people not
yes,
fulfilling their
yes,
obligation for diet and things
yes.
like that? The
Absolutely.
workplace.
I have a client who at one point he left his job because it just would not afford him the ability to do anything for himself in the sense that he couldn't go exercise because especially work from home seems to
Yeah.
have less boundaries than when you're in an office. But even for those who in an office and could clock in and clock out, the traffic they get to the traffic they get from people are tired, long working hours, heavy projects, they feel like there's nothing left for themselves. So the work, I don't think we have really good work-life balance as a culture. Sometimes some companies may offer something for the clients, for the employees, something once a year. Like we have a fair or some employee wellness, but it's not an ongoing program. And people are struggling because you have to earn an income to sometimes you're not even living at the quality of life that you want to live, but you have to earn an income. And these are the options that you have available to you. And, it could be very demanding for some people. And they're like, well, what do I do for myself afterwards? I don't have the energy to go exercise. I feel like I can't even stand up to meal prep because I come home. We were talking about before this recording started, 12-hour shifts and how tired you are when you get home, right?
Yeah.
Um, and what I've experienced can be like, and some people may not work 12 to 12, 12-hour shift in that sense, but they have long hours because of the nature of their work, um, the short-term deadlines and things like that. So I do think that our very hectic work culture has such a big impact on people's ability to pursue their own wellness. And I try to encourage clients like, okay, how do we structure things in the week whereby you say, okay, I need to create time from my schedule to pour back into myself because if you have nothing, you're pouring from this empty cup. Well, there's a lot of things that come out of that, especially parents and certain rules, like you just pouring, 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 and feel like you have nothing left for yourself. But then, when they get into, oh, well, if my boss comes to me this morning and said I have a deadline for something this evening, they feel like they're under so much pressure to deliver. So that is major, major complaint from clients and just people that I speak to who are not my immediate clients, but you hear people complain about the work culture and how it's not supporting wellness. What do you think about that in your experience?
Yes, in my experience, Amber, is that every time I talk to someone concerning changing their life, so try, they respond to me is exactly what you know said there, which is Vic.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you should work in the morning and I hustle. I tell you should in the evening. The traffic and the hustle and the bustle. And
Yeah.
some people have to pick up the kids and whatever. So the time they reach home, I know it's challenging. As I always say, it's challenging
Mm-hmm.
now to just switch to a mode where you put everything down and you just
Mm-hmm.
go to the savannah or you go to a park or you go to a
Right.
room. It's challenging. I wouldn't I can never downplay that, especially mothers, especially a mother, because I think mother, is expected that they, it's in their nature, I should say, that they take around the house and the school work. Because most of the time, some
Is in
husbands,
nature, but you said the right word too. I expected. So there are a lot
I
of
know.
duties that
Yes,
drop back on moms,
that's
and it's
not
a
change.
struggle for moms.
Yes, I try to change
But
how I
it's a
say.
culture. It's a culture. So
Is
you
that
said the right word the first time.
what's that? Is expected? I don't want to get
The
in trouble.
expectations.
Yeah, I don't want to get in
No, it's
trouble.
a very serious thing because, well, you do have single moms, so that is the, if they don't have a proper village setup, it's even more challenging. But then you still have persons who have some level of support. But the amount of, hats that they rotate every day is very challenging. But what I will say is this, because sometimes people in certain situations can feel like there's no hope. I struggle with that at times as well in terms of, oh, there's so much happening. I'm telling you, are dragging through today just burns out because there's so much happening. And I had to pull myself in at times and be like, okay, how do I structure things in a way to create something for me still? Because I've also spoken to people with clients who are like, oh, they put their head down, did what they have to do, and then when they came up for air, it was like, oh, wait, 10 years passed. What happened to my life? Where did my life go? Right? So if we're not careful, we can really get caught up in the hustle, and then you don't know what's going on with your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and things are just happening in your body that you're unaware of because you're just going. So there are some strategies I will discuss with my clients around, okay, let's talk about what is your schedule like? What time are you waking up? What time are you leaving home? What time are you getting back home? What time are you going to bed? Because we have to find the opportunities in the day to do something. You can't tell me you're busy morning to night. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I understand. And all right, well, I guess we can't. We have to find the opportunities in the day to help you do something, right? So I talk about habit stacking with my clients. It's not my original idea. I got it from Atomic Habits, the book by James Clear. So anyone is
Mhm.
interested, you can check out that book as well. But it talks about habit stacking. So instead of you trying to create this, sometimes we want to get healthier, we want to change things. We feel like we need to be brand new and we need to change everything. Instead of doing that, you think about, well, what do I do currently and how can I add something onto it so that I'm not trying to create this whole complete new routine, but I have to factor in that I need to get things done in a particular way. So some examples of that would be like some things I would have discussed with clients, right? You know that you need to get more exercise in, but if you hit home too long before you can, it's not going to happen. Even though you don't have certain evening commitments, you're going to go home and just kind of get into a decompressive state and not do anything. So here, what's going to happen? You're going to start with put on these shoes. You walk into exercise shoes and you get it on your feet, or you lay things out the night before, the day before, or however, if you exercise in the morning, you might lay it out the night before. So in the morning time, okay, after I do this, I'm gonna get my clothes on and exercise one time. Or after work, I have no shoes in the car, I have a change of clothes. Before I go home, I need to probably change in the office if that's possible for some of you. And I hit in the savannah before I go home. Because I know if I reach home, I'm not coming back out. That's the reality. Like you have to be honest with yourself as well. I think sometimes people try to live this ideal, what it should be version of things, and it's like, what is going to work for me? You need to bring it home to you. So if you know you go home, you're not coming back up. I'm a type of person. I group things. If I'm going home, when I'm in, I'm in. When I'm out, I'm out. So if you
Mhm.
know when you're in, you're in, then try to get some things in before you head home, so that when you're home, all right, this is my time now. Or maybe, especially with the weather, you can't always be outside. Okay, so as I get home, and I have my shoes on, I'm gonna, before I sit down to eat and do this and that and the other, 20 minutes or something. That's the exercise out of it. With the meal planning side of it now, I said, well, okay, if you know that you rush out on mornings, what can we do the night before to make sure that you have something on hand so that you're not skipping the meals and then binge eating later on? What are the pockets of opportunity in the day to plan things accordingly? Because we have to find them, otherwise, our situation is going to continue to run us, and we are left like feeling like we have no options, or we have no time, until sometimes you sit and look at the time and it's like, I need to manage it differently. A big part of it is time management, and a big part of it is energy management as well, right? So I spoke about that in a post I put out today in terms of, if you know, sometimes people meal plan is like, yes, Sunday to Wednesday, nice, that's good, but by the time Wednesday evening hit, that's it, until next week. So if you know that your energy changes throughout the week, you need to have a strategy for that in place too. Nobody's saying you have to have high energy whole week. It doesn't happen that way. But you need to understand, well, okay, by Wednesday my energy is going to drop. What am I going to put in place for that accordingly? Right? So bring it home to you. What do you need? Not what it should look like, not what everyone else is doing. What do you need in your situation?
Well, you mentioned something there, Amber, and you're correct. If you don't control the situation, the situation will control you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as you rightfully said, that even though everybody says, and I understand that is the hustle and the bustle and the work and all of that, but that is a routine that we would have carried on for a period of time, and we it's premeditated. So you find now to really change or to add something to that, you had to make the time. You have
Yeah.
to make the time. And
Yeah.
some people, as you rightfully said, because I know people who had to reach work for 7 and 6, and they go to the gym 4 o'clock in the
Before.
morning,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I know people go to the gym late in the night, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to put it in. And you see, a lot of people feel that if it didn't fall in my normal routine, I can't do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no. And you will never do it if you're waiting before to your normal routine.
For the
You
perfect
had to,
opportunity. Yeah.
yes, and that's what I always tell you: jump. You had to make that change, because
Mm-hmm.
again, you mentioned earlier on, you ain't do nothing today. 5 years will pass, 10 years will pass, and when you check yourself, all these years past, he didn't do anything, and he wasn't willing to fit that in, whether it's nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a little walking, a little exercise in between. So it would have been 10 years plus from that conversation. You haven't done anything, and obviously within that period of time, who knows what will pop up down the road? You understand?
Yeah. Things can
Yeah,
develop.
things normally do develop, and I think
Yeah.
and as I always tell people, my tagline has always been, take a chance on yourself. That's all I can say. Take a
Mm-hmm.
chance of yourself, because the funny thing is, Amber, is that when we start work, we all work in companies, government, private, whatever, your own thing. The routine that I get accustomed to, you wasn't accustomed to it before,
Yeah,
before you
but you
start.
adapted.
You adapted. So that's what it is. Your brain here, your brain now, your
Yeah.
brain say, you know what, all right, this is what we do now. So make it part of our routine, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because people who just work, I mean, all my years I work in 8 hours, and then before 5 years ago, I move up to 12 hours, and it was like getting
Mm-hmm.
used to, you know,
Yeah.
it was getting used to, and shift as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
and now I could say, well, you know what, I adapt to the condition, I adapt to the long hours, because repetition, my body say, all right, this is what we do now. And the same thing like changing your eating habits, or even
Mm-hmm.
adding a walking or gymming or whatever it is in the
Mm-hmm.
evening or the morning, is the same thing like that. So I think the conversation that need to have with this with people is like what we
Mm-hmm.
have in here now, because anyway we take it tough, even though we routine, because everybody who some people, you and I talking about the routine and the tight schedule, but I'm pretty sure it
Mm-hmm.
has people who in the gym or in the savannah who have the same schedule and they make any time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But I want to add to that too, because there are groups of people, and again, that's why I said you need to know what you need. I have never been a gym rat, always very fit, but gym wasn't my thing, right? And so I want to remind people, so you can get fit. I don't mean to take away your business on of it, in terms of people not coming into the gym, but there are
No,
different
no.
ways. There
I
are
don't
online
promote the gym, but
programs.
I don't promote gym. You know that. You know that.
There are online
Wellness,
programs,
wellness.
but and there are
Yes,
different
yes.
avenues, right? Now, what I also wanna put into this, there are a lot of people out here who are struggling with mental health,
Hmm.
mental illness or mental health, and that can have a big impact on whether they get up and do things. So I always have a punch in there for therapy. You know, it's a taboo topic in the Caribbean. It's like, oh gosh, something wrong with you, you're mad, he this, he that, the other.
Yes,
But sometimes
yes.
we need it, right? For me, I've experienced a lot of grief. And so, and we see what's happening in the country. People are grieving, people are mourning, people are under some heavy vibes. And that can keep you stuck. It can keep you in a place of inaction. You want to do something, but you don't know how to get there because you're just navigating so many other things, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so acknowledge that within yourself as well. Whether you need to lead more of a spiritual lifestyle, whatever your religion is, you need to lean into that. You need to be able to also seek, whether through private or different, lots of, we have a lot of government services around mental health things as well to help you see some joy in your life again so that you can pour back into yourself because there are people who they know but they can't act because the mental fog is too heavy, it's too thick. So you may say like there are two people the same schedules, but somebody's in a different place in their life and they can pursue the activity that we're talking about and there's somebody else. And I'm saying because I have been there. I lost my mom last year, right? So I feel like I can do certain things at a point in time. I'm just and you lose a sense of you look at life, you have things to be thankful for, but you can't get up. So that's something I want to put there to like seek. That's why I said bring it to you. What do you need? What do you need? So by the time it hit my mom 40 days, I was like, no, I booked a consultation and I had something online too. So you don't always have to go, nobody has to see you walking in and out of the office. But I booked something online. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Help me. Because
Cool.
it was hard and it still continues to be very difficult. Um, I just have different ways that I pull myself through those moments. But for people who are grieving, whether you're grieving the loss of someone, you're grieving a change in life, there's different things. People grieve because they got a new medical diagnosis. So grief, different things that are keeping people in mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, a number of things, acknowledge that, listen, I have it. Who can help me out of it? Who can help me through it? So that I can now create more space and time. I have clients who, when I talk to them, I said, okay, I'm going to recommend this service for you as well. Because some of the issues you are facing is not so much nutrition, it is that you have these other things that are happening that are impacting your nutrition, right? You're in an emotional state that is impacting some, and I always say it goes hand in hand. If you are anxious or depressed, some people overeat, undereat. But the bottom root line is not the nutrition itself, no, is the other, the presence of these strong emotional states that now make it difficult for people to act in other aspects of their life. So health is never just one thing. You have to put it all together to understand when you come out to try and be a generally healthy person is so holistic. So don't be afraid to seek those services if you know you've been in a difficult place and you need the help takers, especially men. Because I'm like, yeah, I went and booked a session and a guy would be like, I go to the gym. There's my outlet, right? I good. I just need to sweat. I'm gonna bounce some basketball, something, and then not really dealing with underlying issues. And the next thing, blood pressure rising. So, well, why my pressure high? Because you're holding things in and you need to learn to let it go and create space for other aspects of your wellness by managing some of those underlying hidden things that are really driving some of the behaviors that we see. So I want to put up a note in for that as well because it's something I even experienced with my own grief. I speak about it very openly because it will help somebody somehow. So I have no issue sharing that, but just tune in and say, what do you need? And what are the people, who are the people that you need to help you through what you're experiencing?
Well, thank you for that, Amber. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for just putting on a different shoes there outside the nutritionist kind of thing. But I mean you know that I understand. You know that I
Yeah.
understand. I
Mm-hmm.
because I would have lived it through as well, more than once. But
Mm-hmm.
um, what I will say though is men, we are not. I don't know if it's the way we was brought up in this culture whereby
Mm-hmm.
going and seek help, seem weak or is a macho thing or
Yeah.
ego thing.
Yeah.
And I've heard it before. Well, I'm if I look like a mad or what, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
not even trying to say, you know what, be humble and let me just talk to someone who, again, as I was saying earlier on, Amber, somebody who's qualified to ask the right
Mm-hmm.
question, to reach certain
Mm-hmm.
part of you that you hidden away without, sometimes you didn't even know you hidden away certain things, right?
Yeah.
And some of the things that I myself could say that I kept close to me that I didn't know how to deal with, and probably still, I probably need that number. I must be needing somebody to still. I say because I tend to keep myself busy, but rightfully as you said that we tend to say out in our mouth that we put up a show, men,
Mm-hmm.
that all is
Mm-hmm.
okay, but mostly plenty times it's not,
It's
right? We're
not.
dealing with things on the inside, and even though we go
It's
to the
not.
gym, that'll just be yeah for an hour or whatever. But as soon as we walk out there, that thing is still there, right?
It's still there.
It's still there, and that's why the mental health crisis for men is so high,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It
And
is.
it's so high, and it's conversation like this, Amber, and that is why when I started the magazine, it is a holistic approach, as you know, to wellness, and on the all the issue will mark mind, body, and soul, because I know that if your mind is not in the right place, you and I could tell somebody who mind in the right place all kind of thing about
Mm-hmm.
nutrition and fitness, they wouldn't start.
Yeah. They
They can't
wouldn't.
start.
Because
And
that's not the problem. That's not the
that is
real, that's not the root of the problem.
that is not a real problem. And then,
Mm-hmm.
as you said earlier on again, and you're so correct, is that when people frustrated, depressed, have problems, they either overeat,
Mm-hmm.
undereat,
Mm-hmm.
or well, drink. You know how that is go,
They
right?
started indulging in other substances. Yeah.
And other substance. It's very
Mm-hmm.
rare. It's very rare that we have those kind of issues or problems and say, you know what, I'm going to tweak my eating. I will eat properly. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Nobody do the right thing when they're under stress. They do all the wrong things,
Food
right?
becomes a coping mechanism, you see. It becomes an escape.
Yes, it
So,
becomes
yeah.
escape, right? So when we say I go to the gym and need some stress, that is just be words. That'll just be words in the
Mm.
sense of to say, you know what, yes, you're going and push on my iron, whatever, but the gym is a physical thing. Yes, it has some
Yeah.
mental, but as soon as you walk out that gym, what happens next? It comes right back.
Yeah.
And I talk
And
about experience.
I think that feeds into earlier you made a comment that people in the gym but they're not seeing results. I think that's part of it too because the gym is an
Correct.
escape as well.
It
And
is.
there are other things that people need to face. And it's hard to face it. The pandemic caused some people to face it. Um, but we out of pandemic times now, so they could go back to like escaping things without really dealing with it. So that's why I find people are in the gym and not seeing certain results because the gym is an
Yes.
escape from something and it's not really, um, you know, there are other issues that they're facing that they need some professional support with. But there are a lot of stigmas, especially stigma around, seeking mental health support and the especially for men, as I said, it could be seen as weakness. Men are supposed to hold things in and handle the family
Yes.
and be
Yes.
providers, and they're under so much stress to do that. So I have seen that they are less likely. There are some men who do, but most of them who are less likely to really seek the help.
Do you think that no, I know this topic is we on is a little
Yeah,
touchy.
yeah, yeah.
It's a little touchy, but I think when I listen to a lot of programs as well because of what I'm doing. So I want to see what's happening out there as well, podcasts and
Mm-hmm.
topics, something like that. And one of the things that I know I'll be hearing out there is important to if you have a wife or your partner, all right, as a man, it's important that I ain't saying it's easy for a wife or a woman to understand and realize, what, that this man under some stress and make, see if you could make the atmosphere a little more, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to help him open up because it's not easy. I know it's not easy. As a man, I know
It's
it's
not
not easy.
easy. Yeah.
Right? We doesn't want to let down our guard because we was told
Mm-hmm.
from childhood, men
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to cry and we supposed to,
Mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm.
strong, right? And do not show emotion. I can tell you, I was taught don't show
Mm-hmm.
emotion. That
Mm-hmm.
we align emotions with weakness. We was told that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I grown to learn that is so far from the truth, you know,
Yeah.
right? So I've all these things that we talking about, I would have learned big because I just like every other black man out there. that's we have this hidden this ego. Well, no, I'm not doing this. Well, you know, and it kills us on the inside.
It does.
It kills us on the inside,
I
and sometimes
agree.
things happen to us. We lose people that we care about and other things without even knowing, what happened there. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
we wasn't able to have a conversation and say, you know what, let's talk. You know?
Yeah, I see it, and I've had conversations like this with my husband, and you've met him. And he could see one of the worst things to do is for a man to open up, and then their partner turns around and use that against them. So they just kind of
Hey,
close down, they shut down. So I don't want to put it completely on the partner because there are times where, again, it's something that men need to work through. Probably need to have more group support for men in terms of first and foremost opening up because there are some partners who are willing to, but because of that, "Ah, I can't open up. I'm a man. Men are supposed to express things a particular way." It's difficult, or they may not, even if you have a partner who's trying to be supportive. And then in turn for the partner to understand how to receive when they do open up, how to receive and things. I can't get into that relationship advice because there's some people on both ends really need to,
yeah,
to
yeah,
manage
yeah,
themselves.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but the home environment plays a role for both men and women when it comes to um, you know, is it is a safe space for people to open up, especially for the man to open up and to be received and to be supported. And how does that feed into that mental health? Because what you've seen is that on both sides, the partner that you choose can really have an impact on your well-being, right?
Yes.
Whether you have the time, do they give you, are you bogged down so much that you can't even pour back into your wellness?
Hmm.
Is the environment so heavy and toxic
Hmm.
that it draws you down as well. So that is a whole other topic, but
Yeah,
it
that's
plays a big role for both sides. Because some women will say, well, they have so many responsibilities in the house, they can't exercise, they can't do anything for themselves, right? Some men will say, I don't have the space, I don't have the partner who can really allow me to open up and work through my mental clutter, right? And that's where the external help comes in, where okay, maybe you do need the additional help of therapy, and then you all need therapy together to kind of work on those things. But the partner that you choose could really work for or against your wellness. Truly.
well, that is a proven fact. And but do you know it don't have much apart from professional like one-on-one help from a somebody life coach or one of those people.
Hmm.
It doesn't have support group for men. I say, well, it probably
Yeah.
have, but that's something that lacking. And
Yeah.
I had two friends was talking about that the other day, and we tend to meet from time to time. And we just say this: we need more men to be doing this.
To
Whether
doing
it could be
this.
two, three buddies, talk and say, boy, this really bothering me, whatever, whatever. But you don't have that because it's in all in nature, Amber. I know you want to say, I know you have something to say, but
I want
that's
to say something because no, as you said that somebody came to mind. So I don't know if you know
yeah.
Orlando Griffith. He is Orlando Griffith. So I know him from uni. He is a trainer. I don't want to miss. I know he has a proper official title, Orlando. Forgive me.
Mhm.
Um, but he's also such a mental health advocate. So he has his business. He has his gym set up. He was a strength trainer for a number of different national teams and things like that. So he's well established, well experienced. But ever so often, I don't know how often he has it, but I know that I've seen him put out that he does have men's support group and they will have meetings and things like that. So I know he has taken that initiative. Um, Aries Sports Performance is his business. And he is one guy that I can think about outright in the health and wellness space as well, is trying to save space for men to come together and be supported. So
Yeah,
we could
well,
look into
that's
that
good.
some more. But he's the first person came to mind, especially from a health and wellness perspective, who is like, I'm holding space for men. Men need to come together. Men need to be supported.
All right, and that's good. And you know what? You will link me up. That's one. You will link me up because
Yeah.
I myself, would always be, I've been asked based on what I do, not just here, even before the way that I speak about situation. I've been asked by different people if they should be an advocate for men and what is talk
Yeah.
positive and things like
We
that.
need more of
Uh,
it. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's just addition to what I'm doing, and also even with what I'm doing too. Part of it is to do um, speaking in corporate and not just about health. is health and wellness.
Mhm.
So you can't talk wellness without talking mental health, as you know, and I
Mhm.
was talking earlier on. So that's why I'm saying I don't promote. I'm not just, actually I don't promote gym because it's about wellness. Wellness don't necessarily be in the gym. Wellness could be anything. Whether you're going and play badminton 3 days a week, whether you're going and swim, whatever the case, and your
Mhm.
lifestyle, your lifestyle, is okay. It's a balance, and that's fine. So there's so that's what I do. So I think
Yeah.
we need more men, right, to come out, because the other side of those men have a different type of men, right? That
Mhm.
we that really not motivating the younger ones,
Mhm.
and we know who they are, right? So what I'm saying
Mhm.
is that
Mhm.
just as that Orlando guy, and you know who his name though, but him, I know it's the single father association guy, right?
Mhm.
He seemed to be doing a good job for what he's doing there, and a couple of people, trainers and all of that. I mean, I has been a coach. I was a coach for like a long time, athletics, and I was like a mentor for the younger ones because they look up to you, and you do the athletics,
Mhm.
so right, and that felt good. And I did some other speaking in schools and then with the youngsters. So I started this a long time, whereby I go into the schools, and I still do go to certain schools and talk to the young boys,
Mhm.
because of
Mhm.
they need proper role model, and they need to see, people who, some people who look like them in some cases, doing
Yeah.
something other than what they hear in the
Mhm.
other side of the story. So that's
Mhm.
why, program like this, Ahmad, and you as a nutritionist, um we talking not just nutrition and fitness, we talking wellness in a holistic way, and which is
Mhm.
important, which is really good, because people understand now that, what I thought I just wasn't motivated to change my diet or to go to the gym. It may have an
Mhm.
underlying factor
Yeah.
that keeping you back, and that's what I like where this conversation went when you started, and you actually angle it down that road, because I think that is in the majority of people right
Mhm.
now, whereby they have
Mhm.
underlying condition mentally, not physically, mentally, that blocking them, because
Yeah.
every time you ask somebody, they really want to change, they really want to try, I'm not telling
But
you,
it just can't seem
it
to.
just can't. And they have
Yeah.
some negative results, you know, they have some negative results, Vic, away doctor, and doctor tell me this and that. They want to, but
Yeah.
they don't know. When they
Can't
talk
seem
to
to
some
pull
of
it
them,
together.
I have some co-workers too, actually, and it's actually a woman, and Vic,
Mhm.
I try and I want to try whatever. But then when you're talking and think they have other issues that is pressing to
That
them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's what happens.
personal, yes, and that's what happening. So you find now that mental it's so critical,
Mhm.
mental. So I could understand when you say people come to you for advice, and clients come to work with you, but then you realize, well, wait now, your condition is really a mental thing that blocking you from even taking your
Mhm.
advice and following a script that you would have prescribed to them to help them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to have an eye to identify that by itself too is I mean, is good, because you, just as myself, and would have been through some stuff that, there's certain times in the year I could
Yeah.
tell you it's challenging
It's
for me,
difficult.
it's
Yeah.
difficult, and
That's the
and
reality. That's the
and that's
reality for so many people.
yeah, and that's why I come back, like next month, Candace and I have to really try to get involved with the Cancer Society, because I really want to see if I could do with them, because as I said in a thing I put up this morning, you probably see it on social media. That's
Mhm.
personal, it's personal for me,
Mhm.
because it took away a lot of people that I care about, and
Mhm.
and I still have my moments. So that's why when I
Yeah.
said you talk about mental health, and some of days, you know,
Yes, happy days. Yes, happy days. It's
it's
beat off. Sometimes
yeah.
you have a whole week of going through.
Yes,
It's really
yes,
difficult.
yeah, it is.
And I saw Scotia Bank has their 5K coming up, and they were
Yes,
doing like this little interview and asking, "Who are you 5King for?" I didn't even want to listen to it because I'm like, "You see, this is gonna put me." And I
yes,
think that's part of why I felt so bogged down today, because you see these things and it hits a spot because you know that you've
yes,
lost someone really close to you. May not have been breast cancer, different types of cancer, but the point is, it's a very sensitive thing, and there are a lot of people who deal with it. So I work with persons who, again, that's why I always say mental. So like even with my clients, I haven't done much of it this year, but for the past few years I have for my groups. and I have a group coming up at the end of this month too. But I always have a psychologist come in once a month and run a session with my clients because I'm like, the more I work with people, I was like, no, some of these things, I like, let me integrate this in here, because you will tell them go and they will never go. So I'm like, I'm going to bring it to you. So I will have a psychologist come and run a session every month, and my clients who would have gone through that group program are like, this is one of the best parts of the program because they knew they needed it. They wouldn't seek it out on their own. They have access to it, and it's such an engaging part of it where we talk about grief in various aspects. Talk about making changes. What does it really take for you to make a change and commit to it? Things that people can not be aware of or sometimes undervalue as part of the whole wellness experience. So I bring it to them because I'm like, listen, I know you feel you may not want it, but you need it. And so I bring him into the program. Hopefully it takes off as well as I'm planning for it this month as well, and I can reach people from that mental health aspect as well. I'm not the certified person there, so I bring someone in to do those sessions.
I like that idea. I really like the
Mhm.
idea. The mere fact that you bring it, because you're right. People say, "Yeah, I'll think about it, or I'll go," and you and I know they're going nowhere. Yeah,
They ain't going nowhere.
yeah. So I like the idea of you're bringing it to them. But I think I want to get someone like that, or I want someone a psychiatrist to come on this program. So if you know of
Hmm.
anyone, let me know to talk about, just because
Yeah, I could link you with him.
that's a whole hour by itself. You know that, right?
Yes.
Because based on what I'm seeing there, uh, in Trinidad, a young girl in Tobago committed suicide last week with her kids, and
Yeah.
I felt
That
that one,
I think
right?
I read that it was yesterday morning, and I was just
Yeah,
like,
I felt that one. I
it's
felt that
brand
one.
new. Oh
Yeah,
gosh, that was.
and
Hmm.
then somebody said they was looking for her, so I was like, she must be somewhere. But when I found her, somebody was saying who know her, like she was asking for help, she was talking to people,
She's
like she had,
asking for help and not getting it.
yeah, that's what
Not getting it. I
that's
think she
what,
even went to the welfare office and didn't get through, and it's
yes,
just
and you know
it's
what it is,
tougher
she
phase.
she working, she have a job,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So exactly what you said there, it doesn't always be financial, it could be other things, right? And she tried, and then she felt like
Mm-hmm.
nobody not not there, and she did,
Mm-hmm.
you know so this is what I'm saying, is that they have services there, and I'm saying that there are services there that have labels to do certain things, and when people
Mm-hmm.
test the services, many times is not active, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when people asking for help, they really need the help. People don't ask for help. Normal people don't ask for help; they need the help. And that particular case was very, it's sad though. I'll be honest with you, because I
Mm-hmm.
read it and I watched it, and as a young girl, and I mean, that's
It was
sad.
sad because the little baby is a year and a half. I have a daughter who's a year and a half, and I was like, "Does I looked at my daughter like this could have been, that's her age."
It's a year and a half. I
It's
think
really, really,
4 years.
uh,
That's sad.
yeah,
And
that was sad. But do you think it's culture? Because I don't want to dismiss the services that are available there, and I know there's a hotline for that. I you say I can't even tell you the hotline number, but I know that it exists. But we have a culture. Shush, shush. You're going through something. Don't talk to the people who hear and judge you. There's some people who
yes,
don't care and they open up, but then
yeah,
there are others that you don't want to associate with it because we have a culture of shush, shush. So how
yeah.
do we push through that to get people the help that they need? Because I don't want to dismiss. I just think people are not aware of how many services are available for them.
That
I
is
don't want to say
true.
that some things don't exist. Things exist, but do we one know about it, and two, how do we tap into accessing those things? So I don't want to. Yeah, find out always trying to find the middle ground and things because there's never black or white. And I don't
It's
know that person's situation, what drew her to that point, and what she tried versus what I don't know. I can't comment on that more. But outside of
yeah.
that, day to day, there are some things that we do have available to us, but do we know that it exists? Can we tap into some of these things sometimes? How comprehensive is the service? So when you do get it, is it really being impactful? That's the next thing. I
Well,
don't. I,
right.
I can't comment too much.
But I think it's that. But that's a good twisted. But
Hmm.
I will always be, when you see, to figure it out. What you're saying. I agree with you. But what I working on, not somebody, we can't bring back lives, right?
You can't bring back.
And that's the sad thing because for me, I always feel kind of edgy with those kind of topics because
Yeah.
of certain things I've been through, right? And I know they have services there that it claims to do certain things, and I'm saying it without any apology. And when people go to them, not all, but I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
some, right?
Some.
It's
Mm-hmm.
probably in all countries on the world, what I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to say, well, maybe come back tomorrow. But sometimes when people are on the edge, tomorrow might be too late, you know,
Yeah.
or might be
Yeah.
too late. So, and then some of these services, they don't advertise, right? There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
services, and I know that the hardware, there's certain grants, but that I found
Mm-hmm.
out the hardware, that they have available, and it's there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But again, how do you know these where they are and how to assess it?
Yeah.
It is so. I'm not saying it's not there, and it's probably active, but who do you go to? And then
Yeah.
it's okay to get you and I, somebody who might be a little more stable at the moment, to go to a service and say, they say, well, they give you attitude, or it just we come back, and they did probably
Mm-hmm.
service us well in 4 days. But then how about somebody on the edge now? four
Yeah.
days might be too.
Could really take.
This is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm
Yeah.
not bashing the service. I'm just saying is that sometimes, especially when you deal with, as we was talking about, mental, you know, deterioration based on what situation you're dealing with. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
a day to those people just feel like it's like, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
to come up to take your own lives or something like that. You can imagine what's going on in their head and in their hand,
Mm-hmm.
emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's just a conversation, or a friendly face, or a positive word could kind of throw off that radar of, all right, let me give myself a next chance, and let me not do what I
Mm-hmm.
need to do, because you can't bring back, those things.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, when we talking when we talking to the psychiatrist, I think there's I think I'll do a
That's something to bring up. Yeah.
I'll bring up that, and I think, who knows, we might do a three-way call, because at the end of the day, that tie into what you do as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tie into what I'm promoting in the sense of wellness, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll get some good engagement, I believe, because I think where the country going now, I think there's a necessary topic at this point in time, wellness, right? And it's all wellness, because what you do
Mm-hmm.
is wellness, what I do is wellness, and what that person do is wellness. And we
Yeah.
had to have some, we had to have some, because a lot of us going down the road, and we going in the wrong direction, right? So, I know we can talk
For
for
another
hours.
hour.
I know we can talk for long. Also, I know, as I said, this month, October month, is a a very touchy month. Right,
Mm-hmm.
that whole awareness thing, for myself, has always been. There's two
Mm-hmm.
days for the year. This be kind of, you know tr- you know you know right, but
Mm.
also I want to reach out to those people and see, how can I, for what I'm doing, assist for that particular month. I know it's Scotiabank 5K thing. It is have men, and it's women, but I know it's have men. This still go and support something like that, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is a what you say there is true. Most people just keep that hush hush, right? Because
Yeah.
people just want to talk about it, right? And I'm
Yeah.
working with a group of people now who a lot of people in that profession have, and the issue is there. They have it hush hush. The person I'm working with said that, nobody want to talk about it, and well, sometimes somebody can
Mm-hmm.
help, because I have people that I know who survived this thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I just talk to them, they talk to me, they support what I'm doing, whatever. And there's a lot of thoughts go through my mind, but it wasn't meant to be that way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm doing what I'm doing now. Strange, life have a funny way of sending
Yeah. Yeah.
down the road.
It has a way of just coming back full circle.
It come back full circle. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
say the topic for me is me being unselfish, and instead of trying to say, what, let me take care of me, and keep the information and try and protect myself. I'm really trying to really educate as much people as I can. And for those who take the information and change their lifestyle, and from the mental go down and see, it's all right, because I didn't have this information at that point in time. I didn't know what to do at that point in time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't know what to do. I was believing in just what I was told, and it
Yeah.
didn't work. It didn't work. You know, um,
Hmm.
So right. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Have a good night, Amber. It's always a
Thank
pleasure to
you.
have you. Say good night for me, or I want you to say good night for me. Yeah? Tell him
I
I
will
said good
say good
night.
night.
Tell him good
I
night for me.
will.
It's awesome,
And
dude. And
I hope the conversation impacts. Even if one person heard this and is like, okay, let me make some changes. They feel like it was a message that they needed to receive to take some steps forward, and we've done our job here tonight.
I will
Um,
do me the cut you before you finish.
mhm.
I think I'm obligated to say this, Amber, because you said it. Um, you know, you would have said that your mom's passed last year based on cancer. I think you mentioned that,
Cancel, yeah.
right? And you know, my mom sort of died a few years ago from cancer. I just want people to know, right? You know,
Hmm.
somebody don't talk about much, but you know, you mentioned it, and you know, we just talk
I
about it
have you
off.
mentioned this, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Offline, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I should, so people will know the passion and the reason why I do what I do, and which is my one of my main driving force. So
Yeah.
yeah, so these two people, all are watching here, myself and Amber, we have a history of we went through something, so we know how it is when your moms die with that and the challenge and the from A to Z, that journey just be a very challenging one. And
Hmm.
Amber is fresh still, you know. I have some years, a few years on my belt, right? So I just want to say to everybody there, you know, make that change today and give yourself a chance. So Amber, I'll allow you to just do your closing remarks and then we'll call it a night. Yes?
All right. So thank you again for having me. Anyone who wants to follow along with my content, as I said, I focus on healthy eating for Caribbean people, helping them through their chronic diseases as well. So you can find me at the Cultural Dietitian across social media or on my website as well. And feel free to reach out to me. Let's have a further discussion about any services that you may need to help you through. I'm available for those, right? But just stay blessed and think about how you can, keep doing one foot in the front of the other at a time, one day at a time, and it all adds up in the long term, in the long run. So that's it.
Thank you, Amber, and have a blessed night. And we will
Thank
see you
you.
again soon. So take care.
Yes.
God
All right.
bless.
Bye. Good night.